warnings of intense storms and flash flooding. We won't flood here because we're on a slope, so we're not worried about that, but we just want to get all the animals prepared because the ground's going to get quite wet and soggy, hopefully, and we don't want them sitting in wet, mushy dirt. I don't know if you can see, but the termites are going crazy around me. They're going nuts with this storm about to bucket down. I can hear the thunder in the distance, and it's starting to rain. It's starting to bucket down, which is awesome. So I'm going to have to take the microphone off and just use the GoPro as is, so the sound quality is not going to be as good as usual, but I don't want to get any water in the camera and it break. So quickly, while I've got you, I just want to show you what we're doing. Paul's putting some hay in the permaculture chicken tractor in the veggie patch, just so the chicks in there don't get soggy feet, because they can get sick from that. We don't want them to get sick. And then we're just going to go around and make sure that everything else is okay and stormproof. So these are our French copper morans, and they would be about 3 months old. So they're getting quite big and they're starting to scratch about, so this is the perfect spot for them. These guys lay me the dark brown eggs, and Paul's just gotten some scraps from the local pub that we're able to feed them, so we'll pick them up every second day, and that way they can compost it into our soil and be fed for free. So we've got quite a few benefits there. We don't have to pay to feed these guys. We get to repurpose food that was going into landfill to feed our animals, and they're going to compost it into this soil, and hopefully in 5 to 10 years time we'll have beautiful rich soil here, but each year it's going to improve and it's only going to get better and more fertile as we go. So they'll compost it, and the manure also compost it too. Can you hear the thunder? It's about to come right over us. It's super dark out there. But this is much needed, and many farmers are hoping that we're going to get the amount of rain that they're predicting. And as you can see from up here, I don't think I've shown you yet, but this is my veggie patch that started to be planted in. I've got, over here's my corn, and in front of it some corn, and I've got a few pumpkins in front of the corn. And I've got tomatoes here, more tomatoes here, and beans, peas and cucumbers here, and some okra as well. And up the side I've got artichokes. And then the chicken tractor will move along as we continue to increase the fertility of the soil. I've just got a warning on my phone. I don't know if you can see that. We'll try and brighten it up a bit. But it's saying in Western Gippsland, severe thunderstorms are likely to produce heavy rainfall that may lead to flash flooding, large hailstones. Whoa! And damaging winds over the next few hours in Warragul, which is the area that we're in. So one just hit the pine trees above the chicken coop where Paul is. Far out. I was on the phone to him. Probably heard me scream. I was walking from the carport to the house, telling him we need to move the cars inside because we're about to get massive hailstones. It's insane. I've never been that close to lightning before. So the power's out after that really big storm, that really big lightning strike. The incubator's off. So I hope that we get power soon so that the heat and humidity can be restored. We're about halfway through incubation. We've also got chicks under light that aren't under light because we've got no power. So the risk we have with large hail, it's not so much the damage it does. We do have solar panels, but insurance covers that. The cars are all insured, but they're all also undercover. It's more the fruit that's going to be damaged on the trees. We've got so many figs and nectarines and apples, among other things like berries, raspberries, strawberries, and then all our veggie plants that we planted down there too. It doesn't so matter about the beetroot and carrots because they're underground, but the risk is damage to our crops, mainly our fruit crops. We're buying fruit at the moment, not so much veggies, but if our fruit gets ruined, then we'll just have to buy commercial fruit, and that's not what we want. So that's not why we're doing this. It is Mother Nature, and you can't control Mother Nature. These things happen. We're in dire needs of rain and water, and so many farmers, especially in the East Gippsland areas, are in need of water. So you take the good with the bad, and hopefully we get rain but no hailstones. Or no big hailstones. I think even small hailstones can cause damage, but the big hailstones really will cause damage. We won't have any fruit left. And we'll be fighting the birds for the little fruit that we do have that's protected under the canopy. That there is the power company leaving. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I was just about to get my phone off the generator so I could go to bed. And the dog started barking. I thought she was barking at me because I was carrying my candle to the laundry. And as I opened the door to tell her shut up because the kids were sleeping, I heard this beeping, and I was like, oh, that's really weird. I don't know what that is. And I walked out and I saw 2 cars rock up, and I realized it was the power company. He noticed straight away what was wrong with our power. I'm going to explain this as best as I can remember, but one of the big fuses blew on our power lines, the high voltage power lines that we've got. We're at the end of the line, and it's at here, because we are so rural, it can affect only one house in the street, and that's why when Paul rang up, there hadn't been a fault recorded yet. So it's literally like a 5-minute fix, but what happened was the lightning, and I'll play it back here when it happened. The lightning that hit right over us hit the power lines and blew the fuse. And so that's why when I came over and said, oh, the pine trees had been hit, which is where Paul was, he was in the chook pens feeding the chooks, he saw all these sparks, and it was actually the power line. And I was in between the carport and the house, and I looked up and I could see the lightning straight overhead. So we actually did get hit. It was the power lines, because that is the highest point. Thankfully no one was hurt. Thankfully it was somewhere where, you know, we were all well away from. It didn't cause a fire, nothing fell over, and none of the high voltage lines fell down. So we're really lucky. We've been armed with a heap of new information now. We know what to look for when one of those big fuses blows, and we can ring them up straight away and say, hey, one of our fuses on the high voltage lines is down. So it's 10 o'clock, I was about to go to bed, but I'm going to edit tonight's vlog instead so I can get that online and not have a queue. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, bye.